Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the GC360 podcast, recorded right here at the Garden City, New York Media Studio. I'm your host, Erica Becker, and on the show, we have some of the most interesting and influential people in the community. And today, I have a fun treat for you because you're going to know anything that you want to do this summer in Long Island. I have with me Ariana, and she is your next Long Island activity planner. Ariana, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
So happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So we were talking a little bit before the show, and obviously activities and events are fun. Who doesn't love it, right? And we're now in the season where people are really out and about. So I'm sure that you're very, very busy. But before we get into some more of the details, I want to know how you got started. You formed an Instagram page. How did this whole idea get started of you being a Long Island activity planner?
So I had a passion from when I was younger. I always liked to know what was the latest outfit to wear, what was the latest brand, what was the coolest thing to do, the best place to go on vacation. And really, I shared it with friends, family of friends. I had Google lists by topic of every type of restaurant, every town. And in 2021, I started thinking, why am I not sharing this more publicly? I'm sure a lot of other people would like to know, places that I would recommend.
Definitely.
So that's when it got started. So at the end of 2021, I started the page as Long Island Activity Planner.
I love that. So were you that friend who everyone was like, what are we going to do tonight? Call Ariana. That was you?
I've planned bachelorettes, not just my own.
Yeah.
I've planned my friend's bachelorette in Miami. I usually am the one that makes the dinner reservation. I'm usually the one that plans the itinerary for our family vacation. Yeah. So yeah, I seem to be the go-to.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that just naturally came to you.
Yes. I've always been into organization and planning. That is my thing. I've actually been told, like, why aren't you a professional organizer?
That's awesome. It's a great way to be, and I'm sure that your family and friends appreciate having you be that way.
It definitely takes time, but I enjoy it because it's my passion.
That's good. And so how did it grow into becoming a business for you?
So I guess at first it was more me just sharing places I was interested in. If it was somewhere I went and I liked the food, or I liked, the customer service, or I liked the business, I was just, sharing. Most of my common posts in the beginning were, my top 10 Italian restaurants, or, my favorite pizza spots, or, a great place to get ice cream. And once I got over 5,000 followers, now I'm at 10,500, but once I got over 5,000 followers, I noticed that businesses started to reach out to me.
Okay.
And that's when it transformed into focusing on not just, a restaurant or a place to get ice cream, or, an amusement park. That's where it more transformed into including Long Island businesses as well.
Okay.
So, I've had, a local, person who makes charcuterie boards. I've done posts with them. Yesterday, I actually collaborated with a local, balloon company that did my balloon arch for my 4th of July party. And just really, I guess, to transform more into lifestyle, too, throughout, your time, spent here on Long Island. You always need a Long Island business.
Yeah.
To buy, my liquor yesterday, and where'd you get your food to barbecue, and, where'd you rent your tables and chairs from? And I feel like once you're in Long Island this summer, everyone wants to do an outdoor party too.
Definitely. Definitely true. So how long did it take you to grow your page did you start with your personal page and it just grew to 10,000?
My personal page is separate from this.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would say I hit 10,000 at the beginning of this year.
Nice.
So it was, I guess, a little over a year where I hit that.
And you organically grew that just by posting a lot.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that's so great. So I'm sure that you have a lot of places to talk about with us and a lot of different things to do. But first, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back after these messages.
My father never stops moving, but after he had a brain aneurysm, he had a difficult time getting back to his normal routine. That's when I called Alliance Services. They paired him with Rosa. She developed a custom home care plan that helped him with his recovery.
Rosa helped me gain my independence back.
Alliance Services, helping older adults continue to live well and independent.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the GC360 podcast. If you're just now joining us, I've been chatting with Ariana, and she is a Long Island activity planner. So we were just talking about how you grew your Instagram to 10,000 at the beginning of the year, which congratulations also.
Thank you.
And how do you find that things are different for you for your business between having 5,000 followers to having 10,000 followers?
I think having 10,000 followers, I definitely get more questions. There's more engagement because there's more, people following you. So
Yeah.
I get more questions. I see people more interactive when I do a poll. I get more businesses that reach out. So yeah, I think it's just you get more interaction with local people than I did when you have less followers.
Sure. So that keeps you busier, I'm sure,
Yes.
too. Do you have someone that helps you manage that social media, or do you do it all yourself?
I do it all myself.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's got to keep you busy.
I'm definitely very hands-on. I mean, I plan my own weddings.
Yeah.
So
It's a good way to be because it's organic and it's, authentic, and people appreciate that.
I really only like to post about businesses that I truly would use or places I would truly like to eat at. Sometimes these influencers, they get so big and they'll just take a post, for anything. I follow fashion bloggers and they're posting about dog food now. I'm like, how is that related?
Yeah. So have you ever had to turn down anything that's been approached?
Yes, I have. I've either turned it down either because I wouldn't personally recommend it, either I didn't like, working with that business or like, eating at that restaurant, or even if it just didn't really fit the brand image.
Totally.
Maybe it wasn't really an activity that I would normally post about. Maybe just the topic didn't relate.
Yeah.
And also, I only like to post about businesses that are Long Island or New York based.
Yeah.
I don't really personally want to post about businesses that you can find in any other state. I really want to be local and focus on these local Long Island businesses.
I like that. I like that a lot. And so what you were saying, you do have a brand, basically. What would you say is sort of your brand identity? Do you post more about one type of thing than the other? I know you do food, you do shopping and activities. So what kind of is the all-encompassing thing that brings it all together, would you say?
So the idea of my page wasn't to focus on one particular thing on purpose, because I feel that there is a lot of food bloggers out there. There is a lot of fashion bloggers out there.
Yeah.
And I more wanted to be the all-encompassing guide. If you think about if you're going to a certain town for the day, you're not going to only eat, right? You're probably going to walk around. You're going to go to the shops. You're going to go if there's like a local landmark. Maybe there's a lighthouse. You're gonna spend the day there, and you're not going to just do one topic. So
Totally.
that's really how it started. Is just really thinking about I don't want to just focus on one thing, and I try to keep the posts more in a shuffle in that way. I try not to do too many food posts in a row. I try to keep a good mix of all of it, so that way I give my followers a good mix.
Yeah.
But I will say the followers love the food. Like that's definitely where I get the most engagement is the food. But I still try to keep true to my brand and make sure that like I am using all my different topics that I made the page for.
Yeah, I think that's great because you're, like you said, there's a lot of food pages that are just food or just fashion and whatnot. So you're kind of like what your name on your page is, activity planner for the day. If you're here for the day, here's all the things you can do. So do you have any favorite top spots? And I know it's since you have a wide variety of categories, that might be challenging to pick, but just in general, some top spots that stick out for you.
Well, it's funny because sometimes people will ask me like, well, what's your favorite restaurant? Or what's your favorite town? Or what's your favorite thing to do? And I feel that every restaurant or town has their own specialty that they're known for. So it's very hard for me to pick just one.
Yeah.
Like my new local spot that I love, because I live near there, 225 in Locust Valley. I actually just did a post for them, and they have great Italian food. They have a lot of fresh pasta is my favorite. If an Italian place has fresh pasta, I really like it. And they just have interesting take on dishes. And then I would say, like, for outdoor dining, I love Prime in Huntington, just because it's a nice, restaurant, but you get all different feel, because if you want to be more of like that boat scene, you can sit dockside. If you want like the shade, you can sit off the patio. And then if you want to be inside, you can be inside. So I like how there's a lot of different options there.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I would say like steakhouse, it's kind of hard to choose, but I really do like Blackstone in Melville. Yeah. They have a really interesting bacon appetizer. They put blackberry sauce on it with maple syrup. Yeah.
Nice. That sounds good, actually.
So I try to get like go to restaurants that have a different type of I guess appetizers, just like different things that they're known for. And the funny thing is I always look on Instagram to see like what people are getting. Like if someone's posting about it a lot, or if they're posting about it a lot, chances are it's their known dish.
Yeah.
So that's my advice to anyone. If you go to a restaurant and you're not sure where to eat, go on their location and see what people are posting about, because that's usually their most popular dishes.
Yeah, definitely. So of all Long Island is big.
Yeah.
So how much of Long Island would you say you have seen of all the towns and just so much? Have you been kind of all over?
I would say there's definitely a lot of towns that I haven't gotten a chance to get to. I think I usually how I choose what town I want to go to is if there's a new spot that opens or a spot that's trending, I'll go to that spot and then see what else is in that area. Yeah. That was one thing that I always did. Like I won't drive out to the Hamptons just to go out to eat. Like I have to make it a whole day. Yeah. I have to know what else I want to do there, what place I want to shop, like what's a special event going on. I won't just go for one particular topic. I guess that's why I created my page, because I didn't want to focus on just one thing.
Definitely. Have you done a day in Garden City or explored the Garden City area much?
So I actually just started the new subscription service. So now on Instagram, if you hit over 10,000 followers, you can allow your followers to subscribe.
Nice.
So my idea for the subscription, and it's very new, but I wanted to give my followers more of a look or a focus on each particular Long Island town. So that's my plan, to post about each particular Long Island town, maybe a couple of times a month, pick a couple of towns in the month and do a whole day and write several food spots, several places, maybe there's a certain monument in that town that people would like to walk by. Maybe there's a certain shopping store that like people would like to shop at. Maybe there's an event that happens every year at that particular town. Yeah. So that's actually what I want to start transforming my page into, is I guess not just talking about, what's your favorite Italian restaurants or what's your favorite, ice cream shop or what's your favorite place to walk on a boardwalk, but more focusing on particular towns and spending the whole day there and everything that I would recommend to do.
A day in the life kind of thing. So you'll have to do that for Garden City then. Yes, I know a lot of our viewers will be curious to know what you think.
Yes, that's definitely on my list.
Yeah, great. I can give you some recommendations too. So what's the next spot on your list, would you say? To go to date for the area.
The area.
Yeah.
Like a place I haven't been.
Yeah.
I really want to explore the Norfolk more. I feel like I grew up going to the Hamptons a lot. My parents we would do day trips, and we would pick different spots in the Hamptons. We would spend the day at the beach, and then we would go out to dinner. We'd walk around the town, and I've done a lot of I guess you could say the South Fork, the East End. But I really want to explore more of the Norfolk. There's a lot more newer businesses and restaurants opening on the Norfolk. I feel like it used to just be the wineries. Okay. And you're in the middle of the country, and it's getting a lot more built up. And I actually have a hotel that I really like over there. It's actually in between the Norfolk and the South Fork. It's in Abaquag. So it's really just a little past Riverhead. And it's there's like a body of water in between the North and South Fork. And so it's a great spot because it's a little less priced than a Hamptons hotel because you're not fully in the Hamptons, but you can choose if you want to go North or South Fork.
Yeah.
And so I stayed there once, and I did, you know, a little bit of the North Fork, but there's still so much in like Greenport that I haven't done.
Sure.
There's a lot, you know, even in Orient Point, I did more of the Mattatuck, you know, apple picking, you know, type of area, but there's just so much opening up over there.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. You definitely have a lot to explore. So,
Yes.
that sounds really, really great. And I wanted to ask you too. So you also have had a busy last few months. I'm glad that you were able to be on the show. So from March till May, you were pretty preoccupied with wedding things.
Yes.
So you said your page was very much geared towards that during that time.
Yes. Well, I ended up to pick all Long Island vendors because they were all local and, you know, why not use the local Long Island vendors that know the area, know your venue, are familiar, you know, with the spots that you want to take a picture. And I thought, you know what, why not share these Long Island businesses? Even though wedding was not originally in my topic of what I normally post about, a lot of these vendors will do for any party.
Yeah.
You know, if you're using a florist, right, for your wedding, like at some point, you know, at another party, you're going to need a florist,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
If you're using a flower wall, they've gotten very popular. People use them for, you know, these type of walls for any birthday party,
Definitely.
anything. You know, I actually had a balloon arch yesterday for 4th of July. It seems to be the thing to have a backdrop at every party
Yeah.
now. Even a photographer, you know, people continue to use photographers throughout their life into having kids and family. And so just I realized that these vendors not only just are specific to wedding, you know, people would be interested in knowing picks for vendors or recommendations for vendors for other parties. I have to say though, what was really hard to pick a vendor, which one do you think is the hardest to pick?
Oh gosh. For a wedding, right?
Out of all the types of vendors you have to pick.
Gosh, probably either catering. I feel like they would all, it's a challenge. I mean, you planning your own wedding to me is pretty.
It's a job in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Was it the catering?
The florist.
The florist.
The florist was
my second
the
choice.
hardest to pick. Doing it a year and a half in advance, I still had probably 2 florists who were already booked. And I started out with a list of 15. I ended up with down to 2.
Yeah.
Just by crossing off who was booked, who, you know, you felt like their vision didn't match your vision, who had a very high minimum to use them, which I was surprised.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, so one by one, I was crossing them off, and I ended up with 2. And I have to say, they were my favorite vendor, actually. Besides my venue, were my favorite vendor of the whole day. They really accommodated. They really understood my vision. Flowers by Brian in Mineola.
Okay. Nice.
They did an amazing job. Their customer service, even throughout the entire time, was great. And then even like the week of, you know, getting all those times confirmed. You actually go the day before your wedding. They make the bouquet.
Oh.
And you get to see it before.
Nice.
And you can look in the mirror, see how it looks, you know, for your body. And then they'll tweak it a little bit, and then they deliver it the next day.
Wow.
You know, so they did. And some florists I've even heard, they show a sample, and then for the wedding, it looks different.
Oh.
Smaller, not what they envisioned. Maybe they stick in some faux.
Oh, okay. Well, I
So-
know flowers are a big thing for weddings. It's
Yes.
always like a top, like, where are we going to get the flowers? That is a big thing. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you found a good one. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
They were my recommendation to anyone. And actually, not only a good job, but they're willing to work with your budget too. That would be my advice as well. You know, going in, kind of have a budget in mind, you know, of by vendor. I think sometimes people think you have to have a total budget in mind, and that can get overwhelming because you're not sure, you know, what's in line for each vendor. So I would get a quote from a vendor that I really liked to work with, but I would also get 3 other quotes, and I would see, are they in line, or are they way higher? Are they way lower than? And what I usually found was that most of them were in line with that one that I picked. So then it was just a matter of who matches your vision, you know? Yeah.
Did you get any negotiating skills going on for your wedding? Because I know you had all the vendors to deal with.
Well, people would be pretty surprised when I tell them this, but I saved $25,000 by negotiating.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, it was...
So don't sleep on negotiating.
From the beginning, though, per vendor, I did make sure that I was getting the best price or, you know, the best for my money. I did it throughout the process because I felt if I did it at the end and started to pull away, and so it would have gotten harder. So as I was going through, I did it throughout. So like, for example, your venue, usually there's kind of packages or cocktail stations that they normally include. But then of course, if you want a sushi station, it's an upgrade. If you want maybe a carving station, it's an upgrade. My negotiating skills, I ended up to figure out a way to swap for something. If there is a station that was included that they always include, that maybe my family or we wouldn't particularly like, then I swapped it out for maybe an upgraded station. So that's where it started with the venue. And then as it got into the flowers, I basically I went in telling them, this is what I'm thinking of spending per item. I was thinking of, you know, spending this for my centerpiece or this for my bouquet. And that actually helps more than just saying a total number.
Yeah.
Because then you're more detailed and you're more focused on each individual item. And I think you get a better value.
Yeah. Being more specific helps. Yeah.
Or even, you know, even if they give you a quote, you could say, well, I was actually thinking of spending this. How can I alter the flowers, or how can I alter this to fit in that price point for that item? So that's pretty much what I did kind of throughout of, you know, what can I swap?
Yeah.
Because a lot of them have these preset packages, but people always feel like if there's something outside of that package that they want, they have to add it on. So, but I tried to see if there was something I didn't like and swap it out. Yeah,
that's a great tip. That's really, really smart. And so for your wedding, you already said your favorite vendor was to work with was the flowers.
Yes.
What was another favorite part of your wedding? Just the day, something about the day or a moment or just anything.
I have to say, there's nothing like the moment when you first walk into the room, like, and they announce you and your song's playing and everyone's looking at you, like that's like literally the best moment. Yeah. And I actually was very sad the next day because I was thinking, when do I get another time in your life where you have all your friends and family on both sides in one room celebrating with you?
Yeah, that's true. It's a once in a lifetime type of day. So that's why the day is so important. That's why people, I think, get so stressed and they plan so much for it, because it is one of the most important days of your life, pretty much.
I have to say, I was very hands-on the week of, because the day of I wanted to enjoy it. A lot of people recommend day of coordinators now, so they don't necessarily do everything in the wedding process, but they are there the day of for, you know, their set price, and they make sure to follow through with the timeline and everything going accordingly. And I consider that, but I have to say, where my venue was, it was a little bit different because it was a country club, so they're used to doing events. So Engineers Country Club in Roslyn Harbor, they constantly are doing golf outings and, you know, other types of parties and events. So their event director wasn't just the maitre d'. They have a separate food and beverage director. So she was really hands-on and helping, you know, with the events. So I felt comfortable and confident enough that they were able to help me throughout the day, but not every venue is like that. Sure. So I think it's definitely something to consider a day of coordinator if you feel like your maitre d' is mainly responsible for the kitchen type of thing. Sure. Or just making sure that, you know, the food and the orders and like the flow of the food part of the party goes out, and not necessarily like the whole day.
Yeah. Well, I love that you planning your own wedding. I mean, you're an activity planner, but that just shows that you just have a natural knack for this. So when businesses reach out to you, do they primarily reach out to you through your Instagram?
Yes, typically it is through direct message, although sometimes some companies reach out throughout email. But usually, you know, I have a schedule where I pretty much plan throughout the month ahead. You know, what are some topics I want to focus on? You know, what are some certain places? But as long as they reach out, probably I would say a week or two in advance, we could definitely plan something within the month. I just like to give enough time to either go to the place, or if they're sending me the product, to get the product.
Yeah.
You know, think about my vision and how I want to photograph, how I want to feature it. But I also like to work with the business on the caption. So not only is it from my point of view, but I also like to feature the business and bringing up, maybe it's not the specific thing they sent me, but maybe they offer other items. I want to make sure I encompass everything that they're offering. You know, maybe there's a certain price point that they think is great that they want to mention, that their price range is this price for this product.
Yeah.
Maybe there's multiple locations, but I only went to one. So just anything about the business that they would like the followers to know about, and then also my point of view.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe what I ordered or what I loved. Or, you know, the time that I went.
Yeah, that's great, and it's smart. It's a collaboration, so
Yes.
it is great to do that. Did you ever, whenever you started the page, did you see it going to where it is now?
Not necessarily. I think I started it more of a hobby in a way, to, you know, share just things that I liked, but it really morphed into Long Island businesses too, not just activities and planning your day. And especially, you know, after the pandemic, there's so many more, you know, businesses now that have really morphed, you know, after that.
Definitely.
And I really like featuring the Long Island business part of it. It's funny because that wasn't necessarily the topic I started out with, but that's the one I enjoy the most, because, you know, that's how people hear about these businesses.
Definitely.
Instagram is really the way of what marketing is now.
Yeah.
And, you know, the paper advertising, all of that's pretty much long gone, and you really have to rely on your social media presence
Definitely. We know all about that here. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And what do you envision for this business and this page and this venture for the future? Like, where would you love to see it go?
I mean, I would love to see up to 50,000 or 100,000 followers. I think the more followers you get, the more opportunities there are. And also, you know, I would love to just plan people's days, like even personally. You know, if someone, you know, wanted to reach out, maybe I help plan, you know, their local events. Maybe not be official party planner. Maybe, you know, people have family coming in from another state, and I like plan their day.
Yeah.
Almost like a travel agent, but from Long Island. I think that would be really cool. I also recently thought of an idea. Now, I haven't posted about it yet. I plan to. Planning like Long Island bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
Because I planned mine here, and I know, you know, the North Fork and the Hamptons is very popular. Fire Island's very popular. And, you know, coordinating. I actually did it for mine.
Yeah.
So, but like coordinating, going from place to place, coordinating car service, coordinating where you're going to eat, where you're going to stay, you know. Planning a wedding is a job in itself. I know personally, but like sometimes the bachelorette party, it gets to be very stressful because there's a lot of people usually. And it's hard to, even when I did a Long Island spa day, and, you know, with 10 people, you know, in a hair salon, you know, for everyone to get their hair blown out, you know, you got to plan that in advance to get everyone to get done at the same time. You know, certain places maybe don't accommodate to do that many people at once, so that was hard. So it definitely takes time, and especially with that group, you know, and then I had to think about, well, if we're going to 5 places, we probably need a car service because, you know, you can only fit, 5 people in a car, and then not everyone could be together.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that could be something I would love to do too in the future.
I think it's a great idea, and I think a lot of people would appreciate it, because I know that now bachelorette parties have evolved from going out to dinner in a bar to all your friends from all over different areas are coming together for an entire weekend.
Yes.
Staying at an Airbnb, staying, you know, and going to multiple activities, multiple restaurants. Car service is definitely neat. Like, so I think I think a lot of people I think that would be a need that people have.
Yeah, and there's not really someone out there doing it specifically
really.
for a Long Island.
No. Yeah.
And I think even though people are doing those destinations, I think there's still a need for, and I think it will eventually probably get back to more locally, because these destinations going to Turks and Caicos and all these different places, it's getting to be very expensive for people. And, not everyone can necessarily take that much time off of work too, and it's just very hard to make those accommodations. That I think having Long Island bachelorettes is still going to be a trend.
Oh, I agree with you, definitely. And there's a lot of great things to do and great destinations in Long Island. So
I especially like too, even after the pandemic, a lot of the New York City restaurants have come to Long Island. We have so many more businesses, not just restaurants but also businesses, that axe throwing seems to be a trend, and a lot of different, the axe throwing originally years back, it was just in Brooklyn, and now there's several locations, several different businesses that are doing it, and that seems to be a trend.
It definitely is. Well, Ariana, I really appreciate you being on the show and keeping me and my viewers up on the latest trends. Everyone definitely go follow Ariana's page for all your updates for any Long Island activities. We'll look out for your Garden City Day in the Life of Garden City too.
Yes.
So if businesses want to reach out to you to be featured, or if people want to just follow your page because they want to know what you're up to, what's the best way to get in touch with you, and where can they find you?
So you can follow me at LI Activity Planner. I look at all my messages daily, so I would suggest either messaging me on there, but I also linked my email on my bio, so it's longislandactivityplanner@gmail.com.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much again for being on the show. Congratulations on your successful wedding and everything with that. And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the GC360 podcast. This episode was sponsored by Alliance Services. I'm your host, Erica Becker, and we will see you next time.